Well, hi everyone, and thanks for joining us today for this discussion of the new generation of data protection. I'm Paul Gillen, a B2B social media advisor and trainer with Profitecture, and I'm here today with Richard Spurlock, who is the CEO and founder of Cobalt Iron. It's a new company. Richard's been in the IT industry for more than 20 years. He spent a good portion of that time focused on storage management. And we're here today to talk about a new kind of storage management called storage protection or data protection. We know that backup and data recovery have a huge financial effect on the way businesses operate. Richard is looking at the market somewhat differently. Data protection is a new concept of protecting data and securing data, and we're going to talk about that concept in this hangout today, and also about how Cobalt Iron delivers on it. So, Richard, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, sir. A pleasure to be here.
And let's get right into that issue of data protection. What does data protection mean?
Data protection transforms the traditional discussion of customers' backup and archive from an event-based, I did this on Tuesday, I did this on Thursday, I took these tapes off site on Friday, into a data-centric discussion that focuses on the protection that we provide to businesses. So it really is a service discussion to a business covering all facets of protecting data, not just simply a backup event.
Now, I thought that's what backup and recovery were all about. How is data protection different?
Okay. Data protection really takes the discussion from a technology, product, features, and functions, and that how we, if you will, weld all that goo together into a simple business service that is elastic, very flexible in terms of the products and portfolios that it protects, and yet it's a simple, consumable model to embrace.
Well, now, data backup and recovery has become a big problem for a lot of companies as the volume of data has grown and backup has become almost a 24-hour process. How are you addressing that with data protection? What are some of the biggest challenges that your customers face that demand a new approach to backup and recovery?
Yeah, as we've looked at the customers' activities over the past 2 decades, the real challenges come down to the combination of costs, system complexity, and honestly, the extremely high pace of growth for data in the organizations. The amount of data has to be maintained, managed, and protected, and actively accessible at a business to maintain its competitiveness and its pace to be able to deliver on customers' needs is a growing challenge and never ending. And the real challenge that we see is that customers are posed with these challenges, but have to focus on servicing their customers. So the complexity of doing traditional backup is just too much of an onerous burden. Data protection and the way that we approach it with Cobalt Iron transforms this into a business service that makes it a consumable service that eliminates the complexity, the education, and the system operations and management that customers really struggle with on a day in and day out basis in the backup space.
So how are you delivering data protection, Richard, and how does that differ from how someone who's familiar with conventional backup and recovery, how does it differ from the approach that they would usually take?
Okay, traditional approaches are a complex mix of products, system technology, where service, et cetera, all merge together, all combine together to deliver on a solution. As we fast forward to today, with the way we can redefine and reapproach the backup and data protection space, and really, we transform it into a recovery-centric service, we now have the opportunity to have customers embrace this as a cloud-only solution, eliminating all that complex technology and product discussion that's on-prem, and simply deliver it out to the net. Or, in customers that don't have sufficient bandwidth, or just fundamentally too much data to be able to make the backups occur, or those recoveries occur in a reasonable amount of time, we now have the ability to deliver as a hybrid solution where we have on-premise managed appliances as part of the solution that makes it a unified, both public or on-prem solution. Now, in some cases, we've got a number of customers that don't embrace the public cloud discussion around storage and data protection. So we really had to transform this and provide those characteristics of that enterprise backup software with the characteristics, the simplicity, and the consumability of the cloud. And that's where we also provide this public and hybrid solution as an on-prem private cloud for customers. So now that we can provide a data protection cloud at a customer location, fully contained in their enterprise, with the security and safety of their enterprise, but embracing the services and the elasticity and the management of the cloud solution. So data protection now can really span the three key areas that we see customers wanting to consume it today. Either a public cloud, enhanced as a hybrid cloud with on-prem resources, or a purely on-prem private solution. Cobalt Iron delivers all three of those as customers need.
A lot of companies are still struggling with the idea of backing up to the public cloud. What are some of the pros and cons of that approach?
Yeah, the pros and cons with a public cloud really come down to security and validation that security operations activities and infrastructure is in place to be able to provide the protection and safety for the customer's data. And quite frankly, what we're finding is the security principles and practices that we leverage and most cloud storage providers leverage today are some of the most advanced and leading edge practices in the industry. Additionally, because we focus in this space, our ability to refine, enhance, monitor, and manage that security state is significantly enhanced from most organizations' on-prem capabilities because they're focused on delivering their business. But additionally with that, there's the complexity of bandwidth. Public cloud solutions really have a challenge in that some customers just fundamentally don't have enough bandwidth out to the cloud. And so with that, we've got to be able to leverage the on-prem resources necessary to be able to provide the performance characteristics and the locality to their recovery. So I can recover quickly. That's really the name of the game. Getting backups done is important, but recovery is the critical element here. Being able to have those systems on-prem and being able to leverage the cloud resources as necessary or appropriate for the customer.
Now, continuing on the issue of cloud backup, that is typically, I think, thought of as a small, mid-sized business solution. In fact, are there cloud backup options for the enterprise as well?
Absolutely. Oh, a very good question. Really the essence of this question is less of a size discussion than a proper service discussion. So as an example, we've got a very large opportunity with a financial organization where they really want a private cloud solution, but they want it hosted in the public cloud. So the security requirements, the operational requirements of that solution match what they have on-prem, but they want it purely delivered in the cloud. So cloud discussion around data protection and disaster recovery is very germane today, especially for what you started the question off with small customers. What we see in the vibrant mid-market small business customer community for the United States economy specifically, in that space, those small businesses have, in some cases, 1 or 2 locations. Being able to leverage the cloud as their off-siting resource is very important and flexible to them, because what we're now able to provide is that backup as they need, the data protection, which is backup, archive, and full recovery. We're able to provide that on-prem to them, but then also provide that off-site, replicated, transparent, everyday data copying off-prem. So in the case that they do have a catastrophic failure, their ability to recover anywhere in the world is instantly available. So the cloud provides a lot of flexibility for the small customers, and at the same time provides operational characteristics that the large enterprise customers are really wanting to experience and starting to really leverage to provide efficiencies in their organizations.
So it looks on-prem to them, but it's actually taking advantage of the public cloud.
Yes, sir.
Now, in terms of simplicity, you say that data protection is actually a simpler approach to backup and recovery than traditional backup and recovery. How can that be?
Yes. Oh, very good question. So a lot of complexity around the technologies, the tools, the components necessary to deploy this. So all that complexity is around backup. And what data protection provides, and the way that we approach it with Cobalt Iron, is that we mix the proper set of features and functions for backup. It's Windows, AIX, HPUX, all the platforms that people discuss today. Complex applications like Oracle and SQL and DB2 and Informix databases through SAP and Exchange and Domino. Being able to leverage all these systems and platforms as one complex solution is really difficult for most customers to deploy on-prem. It takes multiple products, multiple technologies to merge together. Cobalt Iron's data protection solution welds all of that into one offering. We simply deploy the proper coverage to each one of the systems that need protection, but the rest of the back-end operations, administration, engineering, all of that is already taken care of and provided by Cobalt Iron. So what we end up doing is providing literally the go button, and the rest of the infrastructure, operations, validation, and certification is all managed by us, rather than customers having to re-engineer that same solution over and over and over at each customer location.
Now, I know that the time required to do backup is a big issue. Is data protection actually faster than traditional backup and recovery?
Yes, absolutely. Because what we're doing is protecting the data itself, our approach is not doing a complete backup, doing a full backup on this day, or synthetically trying to stitch together a backup on the back end. What we're really doing is analyzing the data to provide the right level of protection at the frequency necessary. So if I need to protect this at an hour level of recovery or a daily level recovery, we provide all that analysis and all that automation so that we're only moving the essential pieces of data, and we do it in a compressed and deduplicated form, so we're able to complete these jobs in a fraction of the time. We've got a fun customer example where we took their backups from the traditional systems, 6 different backup products, and collapsed it down into one solution. Their backup windows were exceeding 11.5 hours. In that environment, once we were finished with our solution, they were doing nightly backups in less than 2.3 hours every day. So the ability to right-size the solution, provide better coverage with one offering, one business service at a faster pace for their nightly backups is possible and real today.
You know, the companies, particularly in regulated industries, are increasingly under pressure now to provide verified or certified proof that they have the right backup and recovery processes in place. Does your approach address that issue as well?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll answer it and also give you an interesting example. As an example, well, the better way to approach this is we provide the ability to provide recovery testing and validation from the protected data at any point in time. Instead of having these cold tapes or these virtual tape that are, if you will, off-sited and stuck somewhere that somehow I've got to go build another system to try and test and recover from these is very complex and problematic for customers. To the point to where most non-trivial organizations, most larger organizations really do a subset of testing, and they really can't validate the entire enterprise data state. So from that perspective, what we do is that we have the ability to access the production data in its protected form, anywhere, anytime. And so to that point, we had a financial organization that manages approximately 80 some odd banking systems. And what we did is that we transformed their traditional backup into the Cobalt Iron primary site, secondary site as a private cloud deployment. Not only are we able to recover that and test that, but they even took it one step further because of the pace at which we can deliver this solution, is that every night after the backups are complete in a shorter period, they also had enough time to do a complete recovery at their disaster recovery facility in a separate state. And so every day, each one of those remote customers in their data centers can actually directly test that disaster recovery state in DR production readiness every morning before their business even starts. So this provides a completely different level of operational characteristics, both for production as well as for a disaster recovery state.
And the bottom line question, of course, is this going to save your customers money?
Yes. Okay. Very good question. That if it didn't save money, it would be a real challenge for customers to embrace and consume. The ways in which we save money are varied, and it really depends on the complexity and the desires of the customer. But in essential form, what we really do is we provide a current, complete solution that is always leading edge, never trailing or aged, and never neglected. So one of the challenges that we see customers struggling with is the deployment of these large, complex solutions take a lot of upfront investment. What we do is we translate that investment into an ongoing operational cost rather than a high CapEx investment right up front. And that operational cost provides incremental, non-stop improvements to the customers without them having to provide any additional investment, both time or money, into the solution. So hands down, every time we win in terms of price and cost.
One of the great benefits of the cloud is it spreads out capital costs on an ongoing subscription basis. Well, Richard, thanks very much for your time today for talking about this fascinating concept of the new generation of data protection. If someone wants to find out more about Cobalt Iron or about you, how would they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Best way is to go to our website at www.cobaltiron.com, or you can email me anytime at rrspurlock, that's rrspurlock at cobaltiron.com.
And we'll be sure to include that in the show notes. Thanks very much, Richard. Thanks very much for joining us today, everyone. This is Paul Gillen saying have a great day.